Alright, so I'm here to talk about Naafiri. I've had a lot of people ask me to make a Naafiri guide, and I said I'll do it for a while, so finally getting around to doing it. Hopefully this is enough information, but if I do miss out on something, you can ask me a question in the comments and I'll get back to you. I've been playing Naafiri for probably 2 years now. Actually, maybe not 2 years, maybe like a year and a half, ever since she got reworked, whenever that was. And I've gone through a bunch of different builds. This new build iteration is probably the strongest I've ever felt playing her, and I feel like it's so OP that if everyone started going it would 100% get nerfed, and it is so fun. I hope that you guys can enjoy it. But this guide isn't really about the build, it's more so about just Naafiri in general. So I'm going to be talking about her strengths, good matchups, tips and tricks, and just at the end I'll go over an entire game and kind of explain. So I'll have timestamps in the video, you can kind of cut through wherever you want to go, what you're looking for. So first off, let's talk about why Naafiri is good. I think Naafiri is a champion that is pretty blind pickable. So if you want a one trick that you can pick almost every game, that's Naafiri. Like, she does have some pretty bad matchups, but even in her bad matchups, she still can play the game. And even if you have 3 losing lanes, I feel like she's one of those champions that can play well even if she has 3 losing lanes because of her kit. You can kind of jump walls to dodge vision. You can go for invades that you wouldn't normally be able to do as other champions. You can go for ganks that would normally be hard because you have a point click dash, and just a ton of damage for 1v1s. So I think she's really good in every single game, and I think that's why I love playing her, because other champs, you know, you might get a game where like it's unplayable because you're champion. I feel like Naafiri's just good. She's really good at poking. She can assassinate the ADC. She's good at skirmishing. I'd say what she's weak at though is if you're gonna play into like point click CC, and just really beefy tanks. Like, she can play into tanks, but if you're against like beefy tanks, it is a bit rough. It is still playable though. But those are the times I'd say she's pretty weak. So I'll talk about her abilities and stuff and little tips and tricks in a bit. Let's go over runes and builds. So this is a new build I've been going, and I've been having so much success with it. My win rate right now on Naafiri is 66%, which isn't that high, but I'd say ever since I started going this new build, it's probably a lot higher than that. I'd say closer to 80%. So the main thing is basically the Axiom Arc. There is this Axiom Arc rune that also helps a lot in the Transcendence rune. Basically, you're getting a bunch of haste, so you can spam your spells and spam your ult. That way the enemy cannot keep up, and you just win even in losing game states because you have your abilities up faster. So that's the whole idea behind the build. So basically, you're going to go Axiom Arc first, and then second item, I've been going Hubris a lot lately. Doesn't show in this game because I started going that more recently, and it feels troll to go Hubris second, but you'll notice on your first item you maybe get 4 or 5 takedowns, so it's not that big of a difference, and the Axiom Arc allows you to get so much farther ahead than a Hubris would first. Like, going Hubris second doesn't even feel that bad because you have so much inflated gold income, and then all your takedowns you get from second kill after are just going to stack your Hubris. And I had a game yesterday where I went 79 Hubris stacks, and I bought it with 2,000 extra gold in my pocket when I could have bought Hubris. So I could have had it even earlier and had even more stacks. And I got it second, had 79 at the end of the game. So you'll notice that you get so many takedowns from Axiom Arc and after Hubris that doesn't even matter if you buy it second. It's still really good. But besides that, Black Cleaver is good. Actually, let me go over the runes here because I have the build in a separate thing. But let me go over the runes. So you're going to go Conqueror, which is just good on Naafiri and jungle because your duels are going to be extended. Triumph, Legend Haste. This is super important. Haste is just so OP on Naafiri. And then this one, it doesn't really matter if you go Coup de Grace or Cut Down. Either one's fine. I prefer Coup de Grace because I like my Q execute damage to finish the kills. But you can go Cut Down if you want to get them lower to execute first. And then you can go Sorcery Tree second with Axiom Arcanus and Transcendence. Again, the extra ability haste is super OP for more Ws, more Es, more Qs, more ultimates. And then on champion takedown, you get 20% reduced cooldown. So let's say you jump in, get a kill, your W goes down by like 2 seconds. It's super important. You get so many Ws. And then you're going to go double damage room with scaling HP. All right, let me cut over to the build. All right, so now we're going to talk about the build. I also do want to point out that Ignite is pretty necessary. I mean, you don't really need to go Ignite, but I swear once you start going Ignite, you'll notice a big difference from Flash and Ignite. This champion doesn't really need Flash. I mean, you have your W and E on such a short cooldown that Flash just becomes kind of unnecessary, and in times where you are using your Flash, you're probably just going for a bad play anyways if you do have to use Flash. The Ignite just helps with your skirmishes and execute levels for your queue. And just helps you win so many more fights that you wouldn't. Because a lot of the time as Naafiri, what stops you from executing a squishy ADC is going to be if they get spam healed or just barely a little bit of damage to where you don't kill them. That Ignite helps both of those. Ignite is also way better on jungle than it is on like supports that would take it. Sometimes mid laners will take it, but it's a lot better on laners that actually get experience. And jungle, you get quite a bit of experience, so they buffed Ignite to do a little bit more damage. So because you are higher level, you're going to do a lot more damage with Ignite as opposed to a support. So it's kind of a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure at max level you get like 470 or something, which is pretty high. So anyways, let's talk about the build. So every single game, you're going to go Axiom Arc first. From there, it kind of depends. I personally have been liking Hubris lately. I still can't tell if it's better than Black Cleaver second, but I'm liking it a lot. I've noticed I get insane numbers with it. If you're playing into a bunch of tanks, you probably should still go Cleaver second. But anyways, you're gonna go Axiom first, Cleaver second. In games where you need the Cleaver, you can go Cleaver. If you really need Shield Cut, then you can go Serpents as well. As a second item, this would replace your Black Cleaver. You probably still want to eventually go Black Cleaver. That's why I have it here twice, because even if you don't go at second, you're gonna pretty much always go at third. There are some games where you'd want to go at fourth, but if you don't go at second, you probably still want to go at third. So no matter what you go first, second, from there, these are going to be your situational items. So third, fourth item, you're going to go Death Stance, Shojin, Ma, Edge of Night, depending on the game. If you want a default, I kind of ordered this by like what is best. I kind of ordered it by what is best, right? That's why I have Black Cleaver first, then Death Stance, Shojin, Ma this, because if you don't know what to go, generally you can just follow this order and it'll be better. So obviously in games where they have high AP, then Ma would be good, but like generally speaking, Death Stance is going to be your best option as items after Hubris, Cleaver, whichever you go. Then Shojin. And then Capstone, this is going to be, you know, 5th item, 6th item, depending on if you sell boots. GA is super OP on Naafiri. You can go this pretty much every game that you have extra item slot, and it'll feel really good. Aside from that, if you haven't got Shojin, obviously Shojin's really good on Naafiri. Games versus like point click CC that I said is, you know, Naafiri struggles into, like Malzahar, you will want to buy QSS, so that's why I have this item here, because obviously if you're buying QSS, this is the only item it builds into, right? So, you know, that's going to be your capstone item. Overlord Bloodmail, this isn't an item I go very often, but it has its uses. If you don't think like Maw is good or Edge of Night is good, stuff like that, and you're left over with a 6th item after selling boots, you can just go Overlord's Bloodmail. Like this item gives you, I think, like 80 AD at full build, and then once you get low, it gives even more AD. So Naafiri is just really good with any AD, so this is just a good item on her as a 6th item. Probably wouldn't go it before then because just other items are better. So yeah, that's basically where you're gonna go every game. Generally speaking, every game I go Axiom Arc, then I've been going Hubris lately. So Axiom Arc, Hubris, then Cleaver, then Death Dance, then Shojin or GA. You can kind of default to that every game and be good. Depends on the game, but you can switch with these items, so really depends. And then after, sorry, not after. If you want to go full lethality, you can. I don't personally like full lethality. I like Bruiser better after the Axiom Arc and Hubris. I think Bruiser is just better. I think you get more value out of these items while also being tanky and also still one-shotting the squishy. But if you do want to go full lethality, these are items you could look at. Now, this isn't the full build set, like the order, but these are items you want to look at if you're going full lethality. So I put that there in case anyone wants to go full lethality. I personally don't recommend it. Also, I guess I could talk about elixirs. Sometimes you will want to go elixir of iron if you're into like comps with CC. The tenacity you get is like really important, and you already have enough damage. Like you don't really need that much more damage. But if you really just want the damage and the healing, like you're not really scared of getting CC'd, then this elixir of wrath is what you're going to want to go. All right, so all right, now let's talk about bans and matchups. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can. This is tier list for, you know, matchups. You'll notice kind of a common theme if you look at it. So the easy champs, or the champs you beat, are usually champs that are vulnerable to getting jumped on, or have like one or two spells that are very crucial to their kit that if you dodge, you just win. Which Naafiri obviously has her W and her E that can dodge stuff. So she's really good at these champions that if you just dodge anything, you win. Or if you jump on them, you win. That's what you'll notice here. Like Graves, if you just jump on him, he'll die. Also, your dogs block his autos. Literally, she can't hit you with your spears because your dogs. Jarvan is a little bit different than these guys because Jarvan is just a champion that just literally just does not win, and you can always just jump out of his ult too. So that's why I also have him in easy, even though he's a little bit different than the others. Kha'Zix, you know, doesn't get his Q execute because of your dogs. Rengar, if he ever jumps on you with his ult or bush or whatever, you can just W it. You also just stat check him. So that's why it's another easy matchup. And then these winning, again, I already went over why that's that. Even these are champions that are very stat check heavy. That basically it's just whoever's stronger kind of wins. Or there are other champions that, you know, are just not good at acquiring resources. So even though they're stat check heavy and beat you by stats, you could just farm and play away from them and win the game that way. So that's why I have it as even, because they're kind of champions that want to do different things from what you do. So you can play around that. Hard champs are champs that do the same thing as you, farm, but also stat check you. Is what the theme is here, right? Like if you look at any of these champions, they're champions that farm and also stat check you. So that's why they're not very good matchups for Naafiri. They also, a lot of them just literally one-shot your dogs with one ability, which is crucial to Naafiri, because without your dogs, you really do no damage. So that's why they're hard matchups. And then the ban losing are more champs that just stat check you. You will literally just never win versus champions. So, I mean, I would say it's still playable. Like I said, Naafiri, even against her weakest champions, are playable. But it is very rough. Like, you really just want to try to not fight these champions. Personally, I ban Yi, but that's because he also counters Diana, who I also play. So, if you are just strictly a Naafiri player, I would recommend banning, like, Yi, Nocturne, Wukong, or Briar. I think those are some of the hardest matchups and also played more. I mean, all these matchups are pretty rough, not gonna lie, but I think these ones are played more commonly, so I would recommend those bans. So yeah, that's the bans and matchups. Let's talk about some tips for Naafiri. So, like I said before, her dogs are basically all of her damage, and when you use a spell, her dogs get empowered. So it's really crucial to make sure your dogs stay alive. So when you go for fights, basically just make sure you have your dogs, is what I'm trying to say. Your E actually heals your dogs and calls them back to you. So a lot of the time you're going to want to Q, and if you're scared of them dying, you need to just press E, because if you let your dogs die, you're going to lose like all your damage, and they take forever to respawn. So it's really important to make sure your dogs don't die. So if you're going to poke with Q, you can Q, but you have to instantly press E, or like before they use any spells on your dogs, press E so they don't die. Your Q, a lot of people think Q2 is what does the damage, but it's not Q2. It's the Q that procs the bleed that does the damage. So what this means is you don't actually have to hit your Q2. You just need to hit a Q that has, or you just need to hit a Q when the enemy is bleeding. So you can miss your first Q, hit your second Q, and then your Q comes back up off cooldown, hit your first Q, and then it procs the damage. So you don't actually need to hit, you know, 2 Qs in a row is what I'm saying, or it doesn't need to be specifically your Q2. It just needs to be any Q during the bleed that procs the execute, and a lot of people don't know that. So, and this is a lot of your damage, so it's really important to hit your Qs essentially. Your Q also heals you, which I don't see enough Naafiri players utilize. If you're low in a fight, you can poke with Q to heal back up, and then gain the lead that way. You can also go back to a camp and Q it to heal, and a lot of people won't expect this. Usually late game, you can, your Q such a short cooldown, you can Q like twice, or Q twice on camps and heal to full essentially. So instead of recalling in a dragon fight, you could just go heal off a camp, come back, and you're fine. Or if you're running through the jungle and you're low, you could Q a camp twice and you heal. I just really don't see enough people utilize this mechanic on Naafiri, so that's really important. W. So W is weird. A lot of people also don't use this spell properly, so if you're not scared of getting one shot or CC'd when you jump in, and you just want strictly damage, you W then ult, because obviously W gives me you more AD. So you can W before you ult for the extra damage. But most of the time, it's a lot better to ult in Q, then W, then Q. Because, like I said before, a lot of your damage is your Q execute. So it's more important that you have your W damage on your Q execute than it is your ult. Your ult does do decent damage, but then you're also missing out on the fact that your W can dodge abilities. So the reason why this is so OP to W after you ult is because when you ult in, you're probably going to get spammed with spells. And if you W, you can dodge a lot of that. And then they're just going to all be on cooldown. You'll take no damage and you just kill them after that. So most of the time, if you watch a good Naafiri player, they're ult in, Q, W, and then Q again. And another reason this is good is because your Q, after you Q the first time, has maybe 0.5 second like cooldown between the Qs. So it actually kind of gets rid of that cooldown because you're in your W during the cooldown, so you can Q instantly after you come out. And there's nothing really the enemy can do because they can't even hit you back. So this is the way I usually play fights. I ult in, assuming there's, you know, no threat of getting instantly CC'd. Ult in, Q, W, then Q2. And you'll one-shot pretty much anyone with that. That's squishy. But again, you can W before you go in if you're not scared of CC, or if you just straight up want the full damage. So that's that. Your W, E. I mean, really, only thing I can say about E is like it heals your dogs and calls them back, so it's a good way of keeping your dogs alive. Another thing is like you can jump over pretty much every wall in the game with this. So Naafiri is a champion that needs to be really aggressive because of the fact that you can jump over every single wall, very short cooldown. So you should be running into the enemy jungle a lot and just trying to yoink camps even without prio, because you're so safe at getting way over walls and stuff. You can create a chaotic game where the enemy is forced to play your game, but you're always still safe. So it's really oppressive, her E, I think. And then your ult, what can I say about her ult? I mean, I guess like the thing I can say about her ult is sometimes you'll want to Q, then R, then Q, because if you ult then Q, a lot of time what happens is either you'll get stunned before you can get your Q off, your second Q I mean, or the enemy will flash away. Now if you Q before ulting, it's hard because her Q range is kind of short and it's hard to hit. But if you do hit Q, then ult, your second Q is pretty much guaranteed because your ult will take you directly on top of them. So you can just Q and execute right then. And I think that's like one of the most guaranteed ways to assassinate someone. So, and then her ult obviously gets refreshed on takedown. So just be conscious about, you know, if you're going to get a takedown, and just be ready to ult again, because I think a lot of people get stuck on the fact that you have to kill with your ult, which is not true. You just need a takedown. So let's say we're in a team fight and your Q hits multiple people and it bleeds. So you're going to get a takedown pretty easily. And you ult on someone by yourself. No one else is helping you, but your team gets a kill on someone else you already damaged. Now your ult resets and you can ult that same target you're focusing again. So it's not really a trick, but it's just being conscious about when you're going to get your ult cooldown or ult reset. Just be ready for that is all I'm trying to say. Okay, so I am going to talk about how you should play fights. And I already kind of went over this in the replay, or the game replay I did, but just so I can mesh it all up into one little part, I'm going to do it here too. I might leave out like 2v2s, 3v3s, stuff like that, but that'll be in the video. But I'm going to specifically talk about Naafiri combos. Okay, so let me get rid of the minions. Okay, so a lot of time when you're in a fight, you're just going to spam Qs like this, E away, spam Qs, stuff like that, right? Just to poke them, and then eventually they're going to get low enough to where you can ult in and finish. You want to try to make sure your Q is back up before you can do that. So that's how most fights is going to look, right? Against squishies, if you're trying to one-shot, this is what you're going to do. You are going to... this is against 0cc targets that you're not scared of getting one-shot or instantly CC'd. You're going to W for damage, ult, Q, E, Q. You're going to probably ignite there too if you have it or need it. But that's just the generic combo. You're going to W for the damage, then ult in, Q, E, Q. With some autos. Okay? So that's if no CC and you're not scared of getting one shot when you jump in. Now, if you are scared of getting one shot or they have CC that you need to dodge, instead of starting with ult, or starting with W, you need to save it to dodge that CC. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna ult, Q, W, and then Q. You can E as well if you're not scared of dying, but a lot of time you're probably gonna E away and then finish with Q. Because your goal is just to not die and disrupt the team, right? And even if you don't kill the enemy, now this is really OP, because even if you don't kill the enemy, even just doing this, now they use spells on you and you E away, you're not gonna die ever. Or not ever, but like most of the time you probably will not die doing that. Even if you don't kill the enemy, they'll be 1 HP, and the enemy team probably used everything trying to kill you there, and you dodge it with W. So it's that combo is bread and butter of Naafiri. 90% of fights, besides, well, most of the time you're gonna be Q poking first on frontline, just for damage, right? But besides that, 90% of fights are gonna look like ult, Q, W, Q. You can E forward or E out, either one. That is 90% of fights. So if you don't know what to do, like if you aren't sure which combo you should do specifically, just do this combo: the R, Q, W, Q, and fade away Q. If you don't know what to do. Also, you should probably ignite in there too for more damage. Actually, that's another thing. Let me talk about that. So late game, if you are like 3 items, it's crazy, but this is usually enough damage to kill the ADC. R, Q, ignite. I'm not even joking. Even if you don't hit second Q, a lot of the time that combo will just straight up kill the ADC or get them low enough to where they're completely out of the fight. If you throw another Q in there, they're 100% dead. But even just R, 1Q, ignite can sometimes just straight up kill a squishy. So that's why the ignite's OP, and sometimes you don't even need to second Q. A guaranteed way, or almost guaranteed way, to kill someone is if you can hit your Q before you ult. Now they have the bleed on, you ult, Q. And that second Q will almost guaranteed hit, because your ult basically puts you directly on top of them. So if you can do that combo, that is the best combo. But a lot of time, you will not be able to get in Q range of a squishy target and then ult Q them. So, and also an ignite, obviously, right? You want to ignite too, but that's really hard to do because the squishy really won't do that unless if you're like hiding in vision or around a pocket of vision. But that is the best way to guarantee a kill. Is if, or in a team fight, like let's say you're in a team fight and there's two targets. Let's say you ult onto this one, first ult onto this one, and you Q like this, and then this one dies and you get a second ult, then you can second ult this and then Q. I need to refresh my cooldown so I can show, but let's just say hypothetically, right? I ult onto this, Q, and he dies, and then I ult onto this and Q. Now that guy's dead too. So you don't always necessarily need to like Q the target directly. As long as they have a Q proc on them, you can ult Q, and it's basically guaranteed kill. Okay, let's say you're sitting in a bush and a squishy is face checking you. Again, probably just start with W, Q, R, Q. Or wait for my ult to come back up. This is less damage, but it's more guaranteed, I'd say. W, Q, Q, R. Because then you can follow them if they flash away, is the thing. That's why that's more guaranteed, but it's less damage because you get less execute damage on your Q, because they won't be as low HP. But that is more guaranteed because you can follow them with flash. But it's also scary because you're probably going in deeper by ulting later. So those are Naafiri combos. I don't know where I stitched this in, but hope that helps. Alright, so I don't know how this stitch is gonna work because I accidentally did the clear when I was halfway through a practice tool game, so I got catch-up XP. So I'm restarting it to talk about it without that happening. So hopefully the stitch doesn't sound weird because I don't know where I cut from. So so basically when you play Naafiri, you're going to try to full clear. There is a second clear I'm going to show because you can do this some games. Actually, quite a lot of games you can do this, but I'm going to show full clear first. You can start red or blue. The clear is essentially the same no matter where you start. So I'm just going to do one side. I'm not going to try to show the blue side clear because it's essentially the same. You're going to start Q and you're going to go red smite. Every single game you're going to go red smite. don't worry about your dogs dying. It doesn't really change your clear. And once you get level 2, your dogs will pretty much never die because your E heals them. So when you start a camp, you're going to want to Q, smite Q, because your Q does more damage the lower it is. So you want to smite early to get that extra execute damage. You can let your dogs finish at the end here. You procs your jungle pet too, which is really nice. E over the swall. The only thing about the Q smite Q thing is you want to make sure you're not going to get invaded. So if you're scared of getting invaded, then you don't really want to smite early. But if you're not scared, then you can smite early. You're going to finish this with E and then Q the remaining ones. I missed, but you know, most of the time you will miss. Also, W jungle pet. And then from here, it's pretty standard. You just auto big one, Q, auto, Q. And you want to try to weave in autos before you Q because the execute damage is pretty important. And you can a lot of the time just E for efficiency because the E damage is pretty low early. And you're going to W before you fight this camp. It's not really like too mechanic restrictive. The main thing is you just want to try to use your Q and W properly. And you're going to auto this to death, not Q it, because you want to save your Q for Gromp. And like I said, your dogs proc your jungle pet, so you don't have to worry about that. You are going to smite Gromp for the execute damage. And then you're going to save your W here, because your W, while you could kill this faster, it's not worth wasting it, whereas you could save it for blue buff. And again, you're going to let your dogs kill here with red buff. And then you're going to W, Q, E, auto, Q. You want your Q2 is usually going to be your last thing you use because you just want as much execute damage as you can. And the reason you smite Gromp is because you save your W for blue buff. So you want to try to kind of space out those. And then you pretty much just win any fight here on Scuttle because you have Ignite and W. So don't be afraid to take fight. You know, if they come up, you let them face check you. You start with W. In fights where the enemy doesn't really have anything you need to dodge, just so you can get the upfront damage, and you're going to ignite them and try to Q when they as late as possible, so you get the execute damage. Because I could probably show it here with the dummy, but your Q execute is actually such a big damage difference early game. I mean, it is late game too, but early game it can be the big difference between you getting a kill and not getting a kill. Okay, so it does 154 with W and low HP. So let's see how much it does when it's full HP. So if I W, Q, auto Q, it's 102. So that's 50 more damage when they're low. That's actually pretty insane. That's like an extra auto there. So that can be the difference between you getting a kill and not getting a kill. And it's not like there's a reason for you to rush your Q because it's 8-second cooldown. It's very unlikely that you'll be able to get another Q in during the fight. So it's better to just hold it as long as you can, because this has a pretty long second charge cooldown or timer that you can hold it. So it's usually more important to hold it for the execute damage in a 1v1 rather than getting the initial burst. But if you need the healing, you should just use it for the healing if you're about to die. Or if it's a 2v2, you should probably just use it as fast as possible, because in the 2v2 you might be able to get 2 charges in. So if it's strictly 1v1, you want to try to hold it for the execute. But this is also why Ignite's just so important, because if you have a fight here, the Ignite really helps get it lower and stops any healing that I have, that you can just execute them. Like if I don't have Ignite there, I feel like my Q is doing a lot more damage and the execute damage is just a lot lower. So yeah, don't be scared to take fights at Scuttle. Like Naafiri is really strong. Anyways, I'm rambling too much. I'm sorry. Let me reset the game and show the other clear. You know, I might be rambling more than I want to in this video, but I hope it's okay. It might end up being an hour-long video. It might even be longer. We'll see. But I hope it's informative. Okay, so this next clear is 3 camps into invade, which you can do blue side or red side. It's usually better on red side and red side invade into red side, because that makes sense. It's usually better when you start red side and invade red side, because 1, you have red buff for the duel. And 2, I feel like it's just a lot easier to invade red side than it is blue side. So I guess it's really hard to explain when you want to do this. I mean, Naafiri wins level 3, especially with ambush surprise versus most champs. But usually you want to try to get some vision down and know they're starting blue side, so you can actually invade them on their like 5th camp. So it's really important to get vision down if you're going to do this. So, I mean, it's gonna be the same thing. Q, smite, Q. Just gonna be same thing for the first bit. Nothing really new to talk about. You're just gonna clear 3 camps and then invade them on their red. And again, you're gonna let your dogs finish and then E over this wall. On your second Q, you usually want to let it get up to the wall here, because then the Krugs walk in a straight line. That's, I guess, a little tip I can give for that, because otherwise it's really hard to hit the Krugs. I also like to auto the first little Raptor there to kind of bunch them up, because if you don't do that, then the Raptors, you might miss one of your Qs, and it makes it take longer to finish the camp, because see here, I have to auto one more time, so I guess I did miss one of the Raptors. And then here, you're just going to go from Raptors into their red. And the nice thing about Naafiri is you can just jump over this wall, so you can dodge any vision they have. Obviously, if this banana bush is warded, then you're going to walk over ward. But usually people would ward here and Raptors, so this dodges kind of any vision the enemy has. You just jump over this wall. You wait for them to do their Raptors. You come here. Sit in this bush. Let them use spells on the camp. You W, because you want the initial burst. Q. Auto. Ignite. Auto. 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 Q. And they're dead. Like, pretty much any champion will just straight up die to that combo. Again, if you're not scared of CC or any burst, then you use your W at the beginning for the extra damage. But if you need to dodge an important spell, then you want to just, I guess, just walk at them, Q, and then save your W to dodge it, and then ignite, and then execute with Q again. So, most important thing about your W is if you need to dodge something, save your W for the dodge, but if you don't need to dodge anything, W for the damage at the beginning. Alright, so that's the clear. I guess I will go through replay and kind of explain my thought process and my fighting. So I'll be back with that. Alright, so we're back in the game. I will fast forward through this and kind of just talk whenever I think there's something important to talk about. So, here I go for a defensive ward. Ever since I got back from playing in Korea, I realized that defensive warding is just probably the best thing you can do. If you can get your laner to also ward offensively, that's also good. But I'd say it's more important to get a defensive ward to guarantee that you don't get cheesed or invaded. Because really, if you're the better player, the only way you can really lose without having a chance to even play is getting cheesed. So at least if you know you're getting cheese, then you can kind of account from there. But if you full clear down and then this is just all gone because you got level 1 invaded and you just didn't know about it, then your game is not really over, but it's not a fair game, if that makes sense. So a big tip I can give you is just ward defensively, so that way you cut any chances of them cheesing you out. I would also say, like, there is a chance they could have walked in here level 1. So if you're going to do this and you have the time, you should probably queue this bush and check wolves, because sometimes people literally just sit in the wolves pit. So if you can cut any way out of getting cheesed, you can pretty much guarantee every single game you'll have a good chance of carrying. So that's why defensive ward is OP. So we're just going to start red buff. Again, smite early. Nothing really to talk about here, just full clear down. I do look for a mid gank here because I thought Silas would jump on Ari and he ends up doing that. And I thought we could kill. We don't end up killing though, which is sad. Probably should just full clear because like 95% of games I just full clear on Naafiri. I thought this was a free kill, so I went for it. But honestly, 95% of games you should just full clear. Naafiri, once she gets her ult, comes online so much that it's just more important to just get your level 6. But I did know Darius was pathing top, so I wasn't really scared of losing the Scuttle, so I didn't have to skip my blue buff to go for Scuttle or anything. I can just take this. So this is another case of Naafiri E being very useful. So this isn't warded, but I didn't know that, right? So if this is warded here, and I jump over this wall, it dodges any vision, and it's a better way of getting on the enemy. So using her E to jump over walls, or even jump behind Dragon Pit to dodge vision, is a really good way of ganking that a lot of champions can't do. So just utilizing her E to get around the map is really important. In here, actually, I know I can straight up just one-shot him with my W damage and Q execute with Ignite. I do end up missing my second Q, so I don't kill. But Naafiri's damage early game is so high that I knew I could one-shot there if he tries to hold the wave. It sucks that I did miss it, but Alright, so we recall and come straight back out to base because it's really important to try to get back on your camps. I didn't get here on spawn because I tried to go for those kills, which I got the kills, so it's worth it. And here I go for Zahen because I know with my W movement speed and my E, as long as this isn't warded, this guy has no way of getting away. Because your E and W movement speed is actually pretty strong for ganking, as long as the enemy isn't playing like, you know, Riven and stuff that can permadash away. So this is just free kill. Always make sure you take the kills when you're playing these carry junglers. You'll just snowball the game. So I try to save my Q for the execute. You can pretty much guarantee every single kill with that, so try to take as many kills as you can. And again, like, instead of using your E for the camps, like, it's a lot better to traverse the map with your E, because your E isn't really that much damage until you get higher levels on it or more AD. So don't worry about trying to save your E for camp damage, just use it to traverse the map. Anytime you have your E up, you should just be using it to move around the map. Alright, so here, I am very close to 6. I know if I get just like one minion of XP, I'm level 6. So I hover here for a minion, and if Jinx walks up, I'm just going to ult her and she's going to die. Because even though she has flash, because like I said before with your W and E, if you have WE, you can run down anyone because of the movement speed and the dash. As long as they're not playing a champion that has a million dashes, right? So her having flash doesn't really matter because my E is essentially a flash. So as long as I can get my ult off on her, she dies. So I stay here for the XP, hit level 6. My fault for not Wing the Taric ult, but we still get our ult off, and she actually ends up flashing before my ult lands, which is a mistake a lot of people make. They think you can flash Naafiri ult, but you can't. So we kill her, and then I hold my ult a little bit, which is another thing too on Naafiri, right? Like a lot of people, they get reset, they would just instantly ult Taric here, but I'm already in range to hit, so I hit first. Right? Just hit him first, and then when he flashes, then I ult. And if I had Q here, I would have Q'd, then R'd, then Q'd, but I didn't. So I just ulted, and then I E auto, and he dies. And I mean, I can just go for this dragon because Darius is top, but also Naafiri heals so much off camps. This is kind of another thing I was talking about earlier with your Q healing, that you can literally just hit a camp a couple times with the Q and you heal the full. Like I Q'd twice and I'm already basically full HP. It is so strong. And Naafiri's invades are so good because even though this is warded, I can just jump over the wall here and they have no idea I'm invading. Darius probably thinks, okay, she took dragon, I didn't see her on the ward, she probably recalled, right? I mean, if he's smart, he probably would assume I jumped the wall and invaded, but he has no guaranteed information on that. So this is something not a lot of Naafiris utilize, is just dodging vision by jumping over walls. It's so OP. So you can actually end up invading without prio because 1, the enemy can't see you, and 2, even if I get spotted on a ward like here, if I see them walk, I could always just E over the wall and get away. They can never really follow me. Silas kind of can because he can also jump over walls, but I also have my W too to dodge his E. So Naafiri is a very safe champion when it comes to invading. So we take his entire jungle. And the nice thing is too, when you do stuff like this, you can actually look for a flank behind the enemy because you can jump over this wall and flank from behind. Or sometimes they will have this tribush warded and they'll ward here because they don't really expect you to be here, right? Because they have this warded. So you can dodge vision really well with Naafiri. Like they have this bush ward and this bush, but I can always just jump over this big wall here and dodge the vision and go around. So it's just really good for ganking. Hey, I'm gonna try to fast forward to some fights because I kind of went over like invading and clearing. So we have Axiom Arc here. So now is when they don't get to play the game, right? You just kind of first of all, it gives 20 haste, which is more than any other starter item in the game. So you already get a ton of haste, plus Transcendence. So your ult's already a low cooldown, 88 seconds as opposed to 110, which without haste. But when you get a kill, it takes like 30, 40 seconds off your ult. So if we can ult and get a kill at any point, even if this guy uses ult, we just are winning. Even if it trades 1-for-1, even if he kills Ahri, it's winning, because as soon as he comes back to lane, I can ult him again because I have ult faster, right? So you just want to, as soon as you get Axiom Arc, you want to just spam ult and try to choke out the enemy, because again, even if you don't get kills, your ult will be up faster, and you win the battle of attrition because your Q heals and your move speed around the map with your E and W. And if you end up getting kills, it's even better, because then your ult's up faster than them, much faster. That you just keep doing it again and again, and the more you do it, the more gold you get, the more ults you get, and it becomes even bigger leads every single time you do it. So we ult mid, and then look at our ult cooldown. 52 seconds. Now our ult obviously had like 6 seconds of just timer running, but that still took off 30 seconds from one kill. That is insane. That is 30, and that's only one kill. Imagine if was a fight 2v2 and I get 2 kills. It's down to like 30 seconds, maybe even 25. And that would have taken 50 seconds off instead of 30. So you can see how strong this is for just perma ganking and out-tempoing the enemy. Even at just one item, it's crazy. Me having my ult up 30 seconds faster means I have 30 seconds more to make a play with my ultimate. And maybe something doesn't come up, but just that opportunity is good, because most of the time something will happen where you can make a play. So especially over the course of a long game. And you'll see even later in fights, when you end up getting like 3 takedowns in a fight, you can actually ult twice in a fight, which is super important for finishing out fights. And you can permanently trap people because you ult them. They have a death timer. They walk back to lane. You have ult back again. You ult them again when they get back to lane. It's so OP. So here I don't have my ult back, but I know I can just run these guys down with my W and Q, as long as I don't just straight up run at them, right? I can poke from far and then go in when I know the kill's guaranteed. So I Q Taric, let my dogs get vision, because if we look, actually let me look at my vision here. So he walks in this bush, and I mean, I got vision because of Taric ult, but normally I wouldn't have vision. So I Q, let my dogs hit him, and that gives me vision. So now I can just finish him off with my Q2, which I missed, but so I missed my Q2, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he's dead anyways, right? And even if you don't kill with your ult, it still lowers your cooldown. So my cooldown on my ult got lowered by 20 seconds. So nothing comes up now, but let's say, you know, Jinx tried to walk up for this wave, which is, she's not doing ever. But you can see how, like, she'd be like, oh, he doesn't have ult because he just used it mid. I could just ult her face, right? So nothing happens now, but there would have maybe in some games be a chance for me to ult. But because I have my ult back here and I killed their support, I actually end up looking for an invade here because I know this is up to take this because I have my ultimate up. I probably can't fight Darius, but me just having my ultimate up gives me enough confidence to be able to go for this. And you can see how I'm just using my E to like kind of move around the map where most champs wouldn't be able to, and just get around the map faster. Kill this and jump over the wall, and I'm looking for gank on Sylas. And if I did not have Axiom Arc, I would not have my ult up for this. So we E over this wall and ult, and I'm not even scared of dying because I have my W. We end up killing, I get ult reset, so I'm also down to go for this because I have 2 people with me, and I have 1 more ult charge, which also gives me a shield. So I'm down to play very aggro, because also I heal 1,000,000 HP off Raptors, so as long as I get my Q pokes, I can heal, and I can always just E away. If Darius was to come, I can always just E away over the wall, and he can never follow me. He actually ends up coming, and he flashes on me, and I W that, and I kind of greeted because I thought when he ulted me that I would still be able to live, or when I W'd his Q, I thought I'd be able to live. So I kind of greeted it, and I don't just E away like I said I would. Like I have E coming up, right? Like I had E earlier, but I kind of disrespected him and kind of thought I could win the fight anyways. So I ended up dying, but you can see how if I didn't greed that and just used my E to get away, how even though Darius flashes on me, I can still just get out. It's really impressive how much you can invade with this champion. Okay, so my ult's up again, So I can look for another play. Nothing happens, so I just go back to full clearing. You can see how I can like look for so many plays while also keeping my CS up, because one, this champion clears pretty fast once you get items. Two, she traverses the map super fast. And three, because of Axiom Arc, your ults are, or your ganks are very easy to do and almost guaranteed. So you're okay with basically ulting every single gank you get because the Axiom Arc makes your ult come up so fast. So it's pretty guaranteed kills on your ganks. So I get kill, I ult top, get kill, and my ult's already back up coming out of base. If I don't have Axiom Arc, I don't have ult for this, and this fight's pretty hard. I think I grabbed this for level 11. No, I don't. I don't know why I got that. Anyways. So my idea here is maybe this isn't ward. I'm going to sit in this bush and not fight him, but I'm going to Q poke him. Because actually your Q does quite a bit of damage and you can chunk people out. People don't play Naafiri like it, but she's actually a poke champion. She's an assassin, but she's also a poke champion. So I throw my Q and he dodges it because it's warded. But if it's not warded, I probably could Q him twice here and chunk maybe 500 damage. But yeah, so I end up giving space. If you have more members around here, Naafiri's really good at holding space because you can just spam Qs while never being at threat of dying because you have your W and your E to get away. So like I did here, I can sit in this bush, throw Qs, and then back up to this bush, throw Qs at them, and then eventually you can gain back space by poking them enough. It's really OP. But we go back to farming because we can't do dragon. Enemy completely ints here, so we just ult onto Silas. I mean, there's nothing really to show here except for the fact they just int, so we just get 2 free kills. Okay, and my ultimate is up in 24 seconds. So here, I know my ult's coming up in 10 seconds. So what do? I don't need to commit to Zehen. I just need to entertain the fight. So I jump over this wall, Q him, W to dodge, E out, and I know I have ult coming back up in 3 seconds, so I just play it slow. And then I just ult on him. And again, that's another kill I get because I have Axiom Arc. So just push out top wave. I mean, nothing Naafiri specific, just push out top wave, right? No one else is collecting the wave. Gather resources. Like, that was like 300 gold I just got there for free. So I have ult coming up in 13 seconds, so that's why I'm looking for this fight, because I know if I can stall this fight out long enough, I have ult coming up in 13 seconds. So I'm down to go for this play. I thought I had ignite here, so I jumped on Jinx. It was up in 2 seconds. My bad. So we end up trading 1 for 1, but my ignite does finish her off. So my fault. I jumped in 2 seconds too early, but we still kill her, so it's fine. Okay, let me fast forward to some more team fights so I can show how it plays. I'm just gonna kind of skip some of this. I don't really need to explain any of this. So they're in here kind of zoning me, right? But I'm not really scared because there's no way for them to really force on me, and I can like W. If Tariq tries to flash stun me, I can W it or E it, right? And I can always just spam Q. Like, I'm just throwing Qs out even though they don't hit. It's a 4-second cooldown. Just spam Qs. Q, Q. And here my dogs were gonna get killed, so I E to protect my dogs, right? Like I said before, keep your dogs alive. You see I hit a Q here. It doesn't do a ton of damage because I don't get the execute Q off, but it's some poke. And you just want to throw out Qs because it's short cooldown. Just Q, Q, Q. And that poke damage will eventually turn into either space taken because they get too low, or just kills because you can get to the point where you can one-shot them because they got too low, right? And it feels very toxic for them to play into because they're trying to chase you and you're just spamming Qs and they have to keep trying to dodge it and they just lose health randomly. So I end up just ulting Silas here. Nothing really they can do about it. They're behind me, right? And I'm ulting forward. One-shot Silas, and I'm down to play this fight because 1, I'm super strong, but 2, I have ult charge, which gives me a massive shield. Like, this is a 600 HP shield, partially because of Axiom Arcanus. I actually ult Tariq, which is literally just a misclick. I meant to ult Jinx. But I ult in. Tariq ult's going down, and I completely whiffed my Qs. My bad. But we can play this fight slow. Darius grabs me. I can kite it out because I have heals and W's. I completely misplayed that fight, but you can see how with such low cooldowns on your W and E, you can get away from like the worst situations possible. I mean, that should have been such an easier fight if I just ulted onto Jinx instead of Taric there. I just misclicked. So go back to hit a few camps to heal. And I'm thinking in my head, I can fight Zahen if I heal up a little bit. And you can see I went from 0 HP. I'm going to Q this, heal. And I am 1200 HP. Still don't have quite enough HP to kill Zahen. So I'm going to Q Krugs. And I heal for another 200 HP. And now I'm at the point where I'm healthy enough to fight him. And again, I don't have to commit to the fight, right? I can kind of just poke him a bit. And I tried to ult to execute, but it got cancelled. And I can kind of just play it slow. I misplayed a bit. I should be able to kill him here. But you can see how, like, it's worth it to even trade, if that makes sense. Because I can always heal back the damage he does. And my ult will always come up sooner. Like, this guy's just forced to go off the map because he's low now. Whereas I was going to recall anyways, first of all. But I can also just stay on the map because I can heal off camps. So it's really worth it to, like... Because you never need to commit to a fight as Naafiri because you have so many escape tools. So it's worth it to trade HP with the enemy and just win by attrition. You'll see I do that a lot with this champion. I'll just like go into fights that I know I can't kill, but I'll just get them low. And I don't mind if I get low either because 1, I can go back and heal. 2, I am never at threat of dying. So... So here, I am hex gating because again, my champion is super safe and I want to create chaos to where they have to respond to me. And it's also kind of an easy way to flank, right? Just hex gate and now I have flank. So I'm looking here in case Ari can hit charm. We just one shot. I mean, she kind of griefs it so we don't kill, but... Or sorry, we do kill. She kind of just doesn't do anything, but you can see how I just play it slow and never fully go in. But I hit my 2 Qs on Darius, so now I create a situation where he's low enough to where I can just kill him. And here, like, Sylas is probably thinking like, oh, these guys are inting, right? And I know they're behind me, so I Q for vision, because your dogs give vision when you hit someone. And I can go in here because I know even if Taric throws his stun, I can just W it. Right? I just W it, and now Jinx is just dead. There's literally nothing she can do about it. Remember what I said before? That, like, if you Q... Like, if you Q RQ, it's almost a guaranteed, like, win, right? I Q and hit Jinx and Taric. Actually, I didn't hit Jinx. I only hit Taric, but my Red Smite hit Jinx. But, Q RQ is super OP. So actually, that's why Jinx didn't die, because I thought I hit my first Q on her, but that was Red Smite. So... But we still end up killing Jinx anyways. Really nothing they can do when you ult in the W because they can't even hit you back. And you're just literally doing 1,000,000 damage to them. So we kill Jinx. I get ult reset. I'm saving it because I don't need to use it on Taric. So I'm saving it in case Sylas walks up here. But he doesn't walk up. But I know my champion is so mobile that I try to look for him anyways. Because this dragon's guaranteed. So I just try to look for him. Jump over this wall. Press W. Because I'm just trying to ult onto his face because I already have ult reset from the kill on Jinx. So any trade I do here is just good. Because again, I don't care about getting myself low. And actually, I could kill him here if I hit my Q, but I missed my Q. So I don't kill. But my ult was just a free charge, so I might as well use it. And my ult's already back up because Axiom Arc. And he is 1 HP, has to recall, and I can just go back and heal off of Otacon. Or even just do the Otacon. So you can see how just trading equal HP is so worth it on this champion pretty much always. Trading ults is worth too, because this guy, his ult's way longer cooldown. And he's going in here because he thinks I don't have ult, by the way. But what he doesn't know is I have Axiom Arc, so I have ult. So just one-shot Sylas. I got off this because I knew they were going to contest this, and I could just one-shot Sylas. And again, like, even though I was 1 HP here, I heal a little bit off Otacon, I heal off Sylas, I heal off Darius here, and I'm basically essentially full HP. And now the enemy has staggered deaths. Sylas and Darius are dead because they tried to fight us when these guys were dead because we picked them bot. And then I kill them, so they're like, oh, Naafiri has no ult, let's go fight. but I have an ult reset, and then I have Axiom Arc, so my ult's actually back up again. It's so OP. You just perma spam fight. Enemy can never keep up because they're always staggered deaths. They're always down tempo. They're down CS. They're down gold. They're down everything. You completely take control of the map because you're jumping in their jungle. They can never walk in their jungle. It's so OP. Okay, so I'm not really scared of anything here, so I'm just continuing to do the autocon. If Tark ever walks up, I just throw a Q at him, right? Like a little bit of damage here. Not much, but it's a little bit of damage. Tark is going in to try to get me off autocon, so I play it slow, E out, and force him to come into me. Q, right, for a little bit of poke, and then he gets to the point where he's low enough for me to kill, so now I fully commit. And because I have Axiom Arc here, this kill is actually going to be ult reset, and I have W, so I could just one-shot this ahead, but too bad, you know, he has Tark ult, unluckily. I probably still could one-shot him, even with the Tark ult, because I just wait for it to end and then one-shot him. But I'm also down to just do the autocon. But you can see how, like, even though I didn't have my ult there, I killed Tark and I get my ult back up, I could go for another ult. And then I get ult reset and then I ult Chinks. Too bad that this guy has Tark ult, but it is what it is. We guarantee the autocon. Right? And then I'm just chasing because I can. Right? Like, their deaths are staggered. I have ult back. I'm level 15. You just choke the enemy out at any point you can with this champion. Like, even though I'm not killing him, I'm threatening, right? They see an Naafiri on the map. He's scared. This guy's scared. They're all scared. And I'm just jumping over walls, invading. So, I never fully commit here. Just spam Qs. None of them hit. So I W to dodge that. E over this wall. Silas is completely inting chasing me. Throw a few Qs. He jumps in. I E away. They just can't touch me, right? Your champion is so mobile. You're basically a Q spam bot until you get people low enough to where you can jump in and finish them. Q, Q. Like, he can't hit me. I just E his chain, right? And then he chains my dog, so I just kill him. And then because of that... Wait, did I have my ult back? I did, right? But I just didn't use it yet. No, I didn't. I used my ult, but Silas Son just did. So I get a kill here, and now I get ult reset. So now I ult Zahen because I know I can just straight up one-shot him. He ends up flashing this wall. Alright. And I just keep throwing Qs, keep healing, and keep doing damage. And they just lose this fight. Because the enemy is forced to continue to fight you because they feel threatened to do something because you're just, you know... How do I explain it? You're just creating a chaotic game, and Naafiri loves a chaotic game. And they can't keep up because, again, you have lower cooldowns, you have more ultimates, more damage, more healing. And even in losing game states where you have losing lanes, you can create winning game states because the enemy gets choked out. My entire team was losing, but I created enough chaos to where my team could get back in the game because the enemy couldn't get farther ahead because I was permanently, like, how do I say it? Just permanently, like, I don't want to say it because it's anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, they just can't play the game, you know? You just force the enemy to permanently respond to you. They can't get farther ahead because what the enemy wants to do is they want to, you know, when they have a winning lane, push out wave, rotate, get vision, reset on item spikes. But when you're playing Naafiri and you're permanently ulting on them and trading HP and then healing back up and then ulting again because you have Axiom, they can't do that. Like, even though they're stronger than my laners, they're forced to take fights they don't want to. They're forced to leave waves they don't want to because of me. And I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I hope you get the point. You can see I'm sitting on 3.5k gold, but I don't even need to recall because the enemy is so out of the game from how much I've, like, bought them that they can't get resources either. So even though I have 3.5k, I'm also still up an item on Darius. So so you just get these states where, like, even though you're sitting on a lot of gold, you're still stronger than the enemy because the enemy can't even get resources either, which is normally really bad to do because normally the enemy is able to spend their gold and you can't, right? This is completely griefing me. I'm just gonna skip through it. I should never go in here. I mean, there's I should never go in there. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that, but...
Red team's turret has been destroyed. Red team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
So, enemy makes a play. I try to catch someone out. This is Naafiri's strength, right? Like, you just catch people out and try to stagger their deaths. And keep fighting. They fought and went top. I catch Darius out bot, and I might go a little too deep here again. So I end up dying. My bad. My bad. Because like the thing is, if I just kill Darius and get out here, it's like it's just so good. Because Darius's death is staggered, we can force Baron. But my bad. Even though I int there, like it still kind of showcases Naafiri's strength of literally being able to dive into their base, and I could have just eat out, but I limit tested because I'm playing on an ult. But even though I'm playing on an ult, you can see earlier when I was playing on my main that I'm dropping 20 kills even in a master, you know? So it's not like I'm just, you know, smurfing. It's just this build is just super OP. This is the main course. This fight here showcases everything that Naafiri is good at. So I have no vision right now. Well, I mean, I guess now I do. I have no vision right now. But I'm not really scared because I have so many tools to disengage that I can kind of just face check this. I mean, to be honest, if Tark instantly stuns me there, I'm kind of inting. I should probably just Q first and then go in. But I can W to get out of any situation here, and I can throw Qs for vision essentially. And Darius pulls me, I can just E away. And this guy's trying to chase me down, but he can never kill me because of my cooldowns. And this guy's ulting in because he thinks, you know, they can run me down, but they don't realize my champion has a basically 3.5 second flash and a 10-second invulnerability. That gives me move speed. So we just basically force them to chase us, spam with Qs, and then once they get low enough, then we go back in. And you can see how I said earlier, like Naafiri can create situations that are bad situations into good situations off battles of attrition. So we had no vision here. I face check, forced them to chase us, get a little bit of poke damage, and now we have a window to enter in here. And I'm half HP, but I know they can't do dragon because they're all mid, right? So I heal off of wolves. Heal off wolves, 200 HP, plus my jungle pet healing, and I get one more combo on wolves for a little bit more HP, and I am full HP. So now I made them lose their position here, chunked them a bit, and I'm back to full HP. And I also burned Zahin's flash, or ult too, so that's another thing. So Naafiri is a champion that battle of attrition. And here, they try to assassinate me, I W Tark stun. And this is another trick of Naafiri. You make the enemy use such crucial spells, and you bait them into bad positions thinking they can kill you. So now they used everything trying to kill me, that and got deep, that my team can go in here and we just kill. And I ult Jinx, and now Tark is forced to try to peel her. So my team's safe. Now Darius is in a 1v4, and I'm never fully committing. Even though I could probably kill Jinx here, I don't fully commit. I just E away, because I know if I just don't int here, the fight is just won. Right? Because Naafiri will just pretty much always win a battle of attrition. And you can see what went from like literally super bad game state where we had no vision and no control into a completely winning fight just from kind of tethering the enemy and just healing and poking them. And we could get the free dragon, but I know I'm faster than Jinx, and I know she's gonna be recalling around here, so I literally just chase her down and ult her under turret, and she's just dead. And now their deaths are staggered even more. So because Jinx is their strongest person, now that she's staggered death, whenever the enemy respawns, I could probably just fight whoever is there. So, even though this normally would be a bad play to chase here, or take this fight, because we just had a really good fight here, right? And we would need to recall. My champion's still full HP, and I have ult back as Axiom, and their Jinx is dead, because I was able to stagger her death. So, I am down to take this fight, but not fully commit to it, because again, it's still a kind of awkward fight where my team doesn't really want to fight, but I'm never at threat of dying. So what I do is, I just play with the Zahin and Darius, and just poke him with Qs until we get to the point where he's low enough to where I can just kill him. So with Naafiri, unless if you are guaranteed to kill them, you always play this game where you're tethering the enemy, going back and forth of throwing Qs out and baiting them. Because Naafiri will always win that fight. And then we get ult reset and we just go back in and they're dead. This is another reason why Axiom is OP. You'll see here, I already ulted twice here, right? I ulted Zehen and I ulted here. And my ult's back up in 6 seconds. And we only got 2 kills. Keep in mind, if we got a 3rd kill on Taric, it would already be up and I could be ulting Jinx right now. But we only got 2 kills. 2 kills. And it's already back up. So, what do? I can ult Jinx here, even though she has Taric thing, because I don't really even care about the damage. I just care about getting on her. So I got, even though Naafiri has 2 charges with her ult, I got 2 fresh ults there in 1 fight from only 2 kills. Which no other champion or build can do. It is so OP. It is so good for closing out games and closing out fights. It is so good. I'm gonna fast forward a bit because I think nothing really happens for a bit, but... Oh, actually we do get kills here. And again, the enemy's just staggered. Darius is dead. Why? Because they're permanently staggered, because you're permanently able to ult on them when they come out of base, and they cannot play the game. You know, sometimes people stagger deaths because they try to take bad fights when their teammates are dead, but with Naafiri and with this build, you can force it because the enemy can't match you when you're able to jump over walls and heal this much and have your ult up this much. So you can just keep forcing kills. Now Darius is dead, so now we fight here and kill Arc and Zehen. And the cool thing is, when we kill Zehen here, I just ulted, and my ult is back up in 3 seconds off 2 kills. So, they just saw me ult, they're like, oh, Naafiri's ult's down, I can play the game. I just force ult Sylas. I try to ult Jinx again, but I get rooted. Unlucky. Okay, my ult's up in 20 seconds, so normally where you'd have to be able to back off here. There's only 2 alive, and I have my ult up in 20 seconds. So I'm not really scared. Also, I know I can just run Jinx down with my WE, so I just literally run at her. And then I have W to dodge any damage Darius tries to do, and my ult's back up, so we just kill him with ult. And I have ult reset, so even though I know I cannot kill Tark, I mean actually I could kill Tark here if I hit all my Qs, but I misplayed, I missed 1 Q. So there's literally no reason for me to not ult in here, because I have free reset, and I have W to dodge a stun. So I ult in here just to force Tark to recall. Just permanently forcing your will in the enemy. It is so OP. I mean, at this point, like, my team is like so strong off of what I've done that, like, I don't think the rest of it matters. But to put it even further, right, I just ulted, got 2 kills, 8-second cooldown on my ult. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna run down mid and ult the first person I see again. Doesn't even matter that they're under turret. 1 ult, dead. I mean, it helps that I had like 70 hubris stacks. You can't see, oh, 77 hubris stacks. It helps that I had 77 hubris stacks, but like, I'm literally one-shotting them. And guess what? My ult's up in 14 seconds again. It is insane. Anyways, I hope this shows just like how you can have a losing game stakes. If I go back, my entire team is losing. 0-1, 0-3, 0-2, 0-2. Entire team is losing. Even here, 0-2, 0-4, 1-2, 0-2. You can create so much chaos by invading and with your ult resets that even losing game states, or even, like, let's say you have a 2 for 3, right? Where you get 2 kills and they get 3 kills. You can sometimes turn that 2 for 3 into a winning game state because those 2 kills give you your ult back up faster. Now the next play is your play when it shouldn't have been, because the enemy should be stronger off those 3 kills, if that makes sense. Like, let's say you have a 2 for 3. Enemy bot recalls, come back to base, or come back to lane. You have ult back. When they don't, you ult them, and now you get 2 kills. Now it's a 4 for 3, essentially, overall. So, I don't know how long this video is. Probably too long. But, hopefully the timestamps and everything kind of helps. If you need any specific information. But, if I missed anything, comment down below. I hope that... Oh! Something I did forget. Anyways, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'll get back to you. Plan on making the Diana guide next season when the new items come out. I would make one now, but I feel like a lot of things will change with the new items, so I'm gonna wait on that. But let me know what you think about this. Sorry if it's pretty all over the place, but I hope it gives a good idea of how to play Naafiri.